Hello all. In this video, let's talk about everything one must know before they can stake their tokens in Casper. So it's always better to make an informed decision rather than kind of blindly performing a stake. So we have clubbed together all the information we think one must know before performing this staking transaction in Casper. For a validator node to be eligible for rewards, they must be in the top 100 validators node by stake. So this is the first rule. So what I mean by this is that, so let's visit the CSPR.live site. So this give you all the information about the list of validators that they are available in Casper mainnet. So Casper mainnet is permissionless. So what I mean by that is anybody can create a node and join this particular mainnet and be eligible to be considered for rewards. Not everybody will be given rewards. The reason is if you have a stake that is not in the top 100 list, then you will not be considered. So currently there are only 78 bids, of which only 63 validators are active. So this means all of them will get rewards currently. So let's assume a scenario where there are 110 active validators and only the top 100 will be considered for rewards. So let's say you have only 1000 CSPR tokens. So people with 466 million is at number 1, and this particular validator node with 65 million is at number 10. And if your validator node has only about 1000 CSPR tokens, then let's say you are at position 105, then you will not be considered for the rewards for that particular era. So that's what I mean by total weight. Okay, so the next thing that you must know is the rewards will be distributed for every era. So what is an era? Era is roughly about 2 hours, and there are about 12 eras in a particular day. So this can vary, but roughly this is what you can think. Before we show an example, one thing to keep in mind is one CSPR token is roughly equal to 1 followed by 9 zeros in terms of modes. So with this in mind, let's take a look at our validator node. That will give us more information about how the rewards will be distributed every era. So you can see that this is the UI that is developed by one of the community members. So thanks to them. It clearly says that the total number of CSPR tokens distributed for ERA 587 is 711.7800 CSPR. So my total stake is currently at 1535.1874 CSPR. And for this particular stake, since I'm in the active list and my position is 53, and based on this particular calculation, my last reward was 74, 584 and 665 modes. As you can see, it's not a constant figure. It kind of varies based on multiple things that will be affecting it. Okay, so the next obvious question is, where can I see my rewards? So for that, let's go back to the site. So let's go to CSPR.live and let's take our node as an example. So ours is present in the second last page for now. So here, this is the ID where we have done some staking as well as some delegation. So if you click on that, it will show the balance of that particular validator. If you tap on this delegator section, it will show the balance of that particular delegators who have delegated to this particular validator. So let's take example of this one. Since it's a higher number, the numbers are obvious for us to kind of make out. So now we can see the balance is 1484, whereas what I initially staked was 1483. So this is the amount that I staked, and in 2 days I've got roughly around 1 CSPR for that particular amount that I have staked. So this is where you can track your investments. Alright, so now let's talk about APY. So Casperlabs have mentioned that the expected APY would be between 10 to 20% yearly. So it can be between any of this particular range. So let's take an example in terms of how much Casper can be earned based upon 1 million Casper being staked. So if the API is 20% and let's say if the validator commission is 3%, then you can expect somewhere around 531.51 CSPR as your returns daily for 1 million Casper being staked. So this will include the commission. So basically 16.44 will have to be paid for the validator automatically. You don't have to do that. Once everything is paid out, you will get 531 CSPR. Let's say if your validator charges only 1%, then you might get slightly more. But again, if this can't be the only metric on which you can judge a validator. So that brings us to the next point in terms of what all things that validators are supposed to do, and what all some of the metrics that you can use to judge the validator. So I'll leave it to your own judgment, but generally these are certain things that one might consider. So the first thing is to keep the validator node in good health. So basically there is a lot of technical reasons where the node cannot be or will not be in the sync with the system. So when I say sync, let's take a look at that first. So you can see that going back to CSPR live, they will keep us posted in terms of what is the latest block height. So our validator node has to be in sync with this particular block height. Only then our validator node will be considered active and also will participate in the blockchain activities that needs to be finalized and all those stuff. If this block is not being in sync for various reasons, could be the space is not there, the system has gone down, probably they choose some sort of VPS server, or the internet has gone down, it could be anything. So for any reasons, if validator health is being compromised, then you can't expect rewards for that particular era till the time the validator has brought it up to speed. So the second thing is Casper team kind of constantly provides us with the updates to the existing node. So for example, you can take a look at the Discord server in terms of the announcements that they'll make. So basically they will tell you that, okay, when you're supposed to stage version 1.1.2, and they'll give you some amount of time. If the validator is not keeping up with this particular announcements, then what happens is they'll start ejecting the validators. You can see that Joe has mentioned that there are a list of validators who has been pushed out of era 573. So if you track the history properly, then you can see that these are the list of validators who are active till 573, but they have been marked as inactive or has been pushed out of the rewards because they didn't kind of stage the upgrade as they should have. So another important factor to be considered is the total stake for that particular validator. As you can see here, CSPR.live shows you that particular information. So Casper has announced that they will reward only the top 100 validators in terms of stake. Also they'll have to kind of be active. That's also another important criteria. So for example, let's take a look at all the validators that is available. Let's go all the way to the last. Since there are only 63 validators who are active currently, we don't have a problem. Let's say if you have 150 validators, then if you're choosing somebody who's in the range of 90, then you are at a brink of being pushed to over 100, which means that you won't be at a position to gain the rewards. So you'll also have to factor in this total stake, because that also plays an important role in terms of getting rewards. So these are some of the examples that I can think of. There could be more. Obviously, this can't be the only thing. And as I said earlier, you'll have to do your own research in terms of what you have to look out for from a particular validator. Okay, so now the final part where you have to place the delegate transaction. So the obvious question is, how can I delegate or stake my CSPR tokens? So I'm assuming you have your CSPR tokens in, let's say, for an exchange like CoinList. Then what you have to do is you will have to create a new account with CSPR.live. So once you have created that particular account, you will be getting your private key, you will be getting your public key, and your public hex. So what we have to do is you'll have to transfer from your CoinList account to the public hex of your newly created account. Once you have the CSPR ready, then you are supposed to place a delegate transaction. So for placing the delegate transaction, there is no easy way right now. So all you have to do is either to do this particular delegate transaction via a Linux machine or a Mac machine. You can't do it with a Windows machine, and the steps has to be followed. So there is quite a few steps that you have to follow, and you need some idea about how the command line can be used for this particular purpose. So if you are new and if you want some sort of guidance and if you want to kind of delegate with us, feel free to add a comment or like reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you with this. So there is also some guided steps that has already been published in the community. So Mohammed has given us some examples in the Discord as well as the Telegram group. You can obviously go ahead and refer that as well. It's up to you for that particular purpose. So the second thing is how much will it cost for you to place this particular delegate transaction. So that I can show it in an example. So let's go to cspr.live, and what you can see is, so for example, let's choose this validator account that is ours, and you can see that there is a delegator that is present, and if you click on this particular delegator, you will see the list of deploys that is being present. So deploy is the list of transactions that you have placed on that particular account, and you can see that 2.94 CSPR was the cost I had to place for this delegation transaction to happen. So let's say if you have 100 CSPR, then you'll have to keep aside 3 CSPR for this particular transaction and place the 97 as your stake. So that is the cost of the delegate transaction. So the next thing is, how long does it take for the transaction to reflect so that I can get some rewards? Let's say you are in era number 600 right now. If you are placing this particular deploy, you can roughly consider 602 or 601 is the era from which your staking rewards will start gathering. So it takes some time for it to be reflected after some checks. So only then you will be able to get it. So roughly 2 hours or 4 hours is what I'm saying for the rewards to start kicking. So the next thing is, let's say if you have figured out that the validator is no good enough, and you want to kind of remove from that particular validator and place your CSPR to another validator, or if you want to kind of withdraw some amount of money from your stake and then sell it for some other purpose or choose another validator. So usually the undelegate transaction has to be placed, and that will take 14 hours for reflection. So that is the current timelines that we have got from the documents. So 14 hours for you to undelegate and then kind of redelegate, or you kind of withdraw from this staking process. So that is how it works. So this is all I wanted to cover in this particular video. If there is anything more in particular you would like to know, do let us know. And obviously take a look at our website, brightlystake.com, and join our Telegram as well as Discord. Ask any questions that you have. If there is any particular stats that you need, or if there is anything that you would like to see from our validator node, please feel free to ask us. Thank you.